All right, welcome back to my Aha Moments series where I share lessons I've learned through about 10 plus years of entrepreneurship and founding of different startups along the way. The last aha moment I shared with you is that entrepreneurship is ridiculously tough. I hope you checked out that episode, that video, because, well, it's true. Entrepreneurship, launching a business is just not easy. I was talking to a co-founder of a startup today, and he was sharing with me that he was going through the fundraising process, but he realized his chances are ridiculously hard. That raising money for a startup, having a successful business is just not easy. So I'm not the only one that has had this aha moment that realizes that entrepreneurship and startups is not for the weak of heart. Today, I want to share with you that another aha moment is that startup founders, people who create ideas, tend to fall too much in love with their own idea. I've done it myself. I remember back in 2010 when I launched the idea of GoGrabLunch.com. We were first to market, and I knew that, but I had fallen so in love with the idea that I didn't bother to validate whether people were going to be willing to stop or leave social media networking channels in order to turn those into real life relationships via Go Grab Lunch and, connecting with people over a cup of coffee or a sandwich or something like that. So startup founders and entrepreneurs tend to fall so deeply in love with their idea that sometimes they choose not to do the things that they really need to do. And that can be things like validating your idea, doing market research, all these different things. And when you become so blinded, so in love with your own idea that you avoid these things, you're setting yourself up to fail. So another conversation I had just yesterday was with another startup founder. We were talking about potentially working together and what I could help her do. And, I realized within about 5 minutes into the discussion that she just wasn't very coachable, that I was providing her some sound advice on some challenges that I thought her idea was going to run into. But she was so blind to them. She kind of had the blinders on that she was just running head on, argued with every point I made, even though they were valid, and wasn't even taking in that input. And even if she thought it wasn't true, at least going off and making sure and avoiding her own bias. So, the biggest thing I've realized that I'm sharing with you today is that as a startup founder, it's easy to fall so in love with your idea that you don't go through the right process, that you don't take the right steps to make sure that you're going to be successful. It just becomes easy to sort of leap over certain phases of the work effort that you should be doing. And one of those being validating the idea with other people. I'm realizing today, just recording this, that I've talked to so many entrepreneurs in the last couple of days that are doing this. I was talking to another gentleman via email. We had talked about working together in the past, and I had sort of let him know I didn't think that he was quite ready, that he hadn't validated his idea enough, because when I asked him to explain it, he was super passionate about it, but it literally took him 20 minutes just to explain the idea, and he should have been able to do that succinctly. So I sent him off with a homework assignment. I said, listen, I would go back, get that down to a sentence or two at most. And if you can't consolidate it and explain it concisely, then you need to do extra work. And so once he consolidated it, he brought it back to me. And the idea was very similar to what a lot of competitors, big competitors, already do. So the moral of today's episode is that I don't want you to be so in love with your idea that you rush head forward to try and get your idea out into the marketplace and you haven't done the precursor work that you really, really need to do to make sure that you have a chance of being successful. Doing that market research, validating the idea with talking with potential customers, going through those steps. The young lady I was referring to, she told me more than 5 times that she had letters of intent that potential customers were ready to sign. And my comeback to her was, well, then why haven't they signed them? Right. And so we fall so in love with the idea that we're going to be successful, that people tell us they love our idea. And that's a wonderful feeling. But the question is, are people actually going to be willing to write the check when the time comes? It's too easy for people to tell you they love what you're doing. They think it's a brilliant idea. They think it's a unique idea, especially if they know you well because they like and trust you. So don't be so in love with your idea. Don't be so blinded that you don't go through the right steps to make sure that you improve your chances of being successful. do your market research, do some market validations. As a matter of fact, consider the idea of paying someone else to do that, if only but to take away your own bias as you're going through that process. I hope that helps. Until next time, I hope you find your voice. Have a great day.